the country. I hope you guys are, trying to take care of yourselves. The news cycle has been very depressing lately, but, some of these things need to be talked about, right? Racism, systemic racism, and so forth. So I'm glad that we are talking about it. I am sad about the fact that there's a lot of violence and riot and chaos going on. Two wrongs don't make a right, and criminal behavior is criminal behavior. But I just wanted to acknowledge that first before I hop on here and talk about our campaign for this week. And hopefully you guys are taking care of yourselves. If you're wondering why my background looks a little crazy, hi Tita Rosa. It's because I'm in the boonies. I'm in the mountains. I needed to get away, but I can't fully get away from all of the stuff that's happening in the country. But anyway, we wanted to focus on the subject, vanity versus self-care, because we believe that this is part of how our selfie culture has transformed our lives, not for the better, but I think for the worse. And it takes a huge toll on our mental health when we don't understand the difference between self-esteem and self-care, healthy self-care, and vanity. Okay? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And T is also going to elaborate on this, his perspective on it from a male perspective. So what is vanity? Vanity is, the simple definition is it's a preoccupation, a chronic, unhealthy preoccupation with yourself, basically, with, how you look, what your accomplishments are, your appearance, your body, your image, your status, your acquisitions, your belongings. It's this constant preoccupation with you. And we all can tend to do that, right? What I'm talking about here is the lengths in which one would go to appear and look good or beautiful or perfect. And it could also cross the line towards narcissism. But let me just back up here. So not all people who are vain are narcissists. Narcissists, there's a clinical definition for that, but I am going to use it in this talk, not in the clinical sense per way, but more kind of like in this popular culture way, where people are starting to function and move in the world as if they are the best thing since sliced bread, right? There's kind of an overinflation of our sense of self. And the digital world and the selfie culture, I think, has normalized vanity and has made a form of narcissism, a milder form of narcissism, socially acceptable. It's the me, myself, and I culture versus me, myself, and my community. So again, it's that excessive unhealthy preoccupation with yourself, your appearance, your image, your acquisitions, your belongings, your status, your accomplishments. It's all about you. And it's not all our fault, okay? Because, especially for the ladies, because we have a culture and a conditioning that constantly makes us feel not good enough, that constantly plants seeds of dissatisfaction. Okay, just look at the cosmetic industry. Just look at the multi-billion-dollar beauty industry. Here, where I live in Southern California, I mean, no offense to my loved ones, but plastic surgery has become the norm. And, at one point, I was vulnerable to that. I considered it myself until, my wise, healthy mind thankfully kicked in, and I realized that that's really not that's not where my happiness and worth really lies. So and again, no disrespect here to the people who choose to do that, and I'm going to touch on that too here, of like, why do people choose to do that? Again, because we have a culture that constantly makes us feel that perfectionism is attainable, that perfectionism is the way, And that, if we, psychologically speaking, the belief is if I can change my outside, then I can change how I feel inside. Okay? If I can change my outside appearance, then I can change how I feel inside. And I hate to tell you this, that's only true for a little bit of the way. Okay? That might change, that might give you a little bit more self confidence. It might allow you to meet, a different group of people. It might even help you get certain jobs and positions, that are very maybe appearance driven. But that's about it. So a client of mine posted this question like, hey, don't you think that if I was more attractive and if I was, more beautiful and I met the standard of beauty that society espouses, that I would meet more men in my life and my prospects would multiply? And I said, probably. You're probably right? From a statistical perspective, yeah. But that doesn't guarantee healthy relationships. That doesn't guarantee a loving, satisfying relationship. That doesn't guarantee happiness. That just means you're going to meet more people, some of them maybe more good looking or accomplished, but that's where the story ends. The same ingredients still have to be present for all relationships to thrive and to be satisfying. It's not based on looks, because if that was really such a huge critical factor, then all those people in Hollywood, some of the most beautiful people in the world, they would not be getting divorced or separated. I mean, look at Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, right? Two of the most uh, attractive people in the world by kind of our norm, our standards, and they couldn't make a relationship work. And that's not to say they failed. My point here is that beauty, looks, and money alone is not enough. So the thing I want you guys to understand is a certain level of vanity is okay, right? We all want to look good. We all want to feel good. And there is a level of effectiveness to that. What we don't want is to be fooled into thinking that that's it, that that's all we need to focus on, or that is going to give us this self-acceptance and self-love and fulfillment that we're looking for. We as humans, hi Ange, thanks for watching. We as humans, really, the things we need outside of, food, shelter, clothing is love, safety, belonging, and acceptance. And when we are trying to manipulate, our physical bodies to a point of where it's unhealthy, that's a sign that there's a deeper need that is not getting met for love, belonging, acceptance, and safety. That a boob job or a butt implant or all of these cosmetic surgeries is never going to be able to give you. Okay? That's the answer isn't in that. You could look like the perfect, model and still feel really empty inside, because that's not what you're really seeking. That can only give you temporary satisfaction. So if this is a pattern, again, it's not your fault. It's part of our larger conditioning, especially with women. This starts with us at a very young age, right? We get all these messages about what we should look like, and we can't age, God forbid. You can't have all these wrinkles, all these very cruel, unattainable standards are exactly that. They're cruel and unattainable. And all the things that women have to go through just to look socially attractive or acceptable, it's insane when you think about it. It's absolutely insane. And men don't ever have to worry about that in the way that women do. Think about that. Because that's the form of conditioning I'm talking about that is very gender specific. And these are all man-made concepts. These are all things that society has created, and we can uncreate it. It's not going to be easy. I mean, we're already starting to do that anyway in the last decade at least. There's all these body positive, movements, which I think is great. But I think it's going to be around for a while, if not forever, because this is how deep this conditioning is. But that's why we wanted to focus on it and, hopefully if we could change one person's life because of this campaign, then that is worth it to us, because we're all about helping people feel fulfilled and happy in a real way, in a meaningful way, not in these false ways. So again, our culture has normalized all of these expectations, um, and vanity in a way has been made to be socially acceptable. So how can you differentiate between that and healthy self-care, right? Because some people say, well, I needed to do it. Do you, girl? Do what you need to do to feel good, which is all sounds harmless. But if you're not clear about what your intention is and why you're doing that, that is a slippery slope. Okay, and then it usually moves on to other parts of your body. It doesn't just become like a one-time thing, and again, I'm not going to be hypocritical. I'm a woman. I've had my insecurities, and they're less now, but I still have some of them. But I'm wise enough to know that that's all they are. They're insecurities. It doesn't mean it's true. That I was prone to considering certain cosmetic surgery, and I'm glad that I didn't. So the things that, and again, I'm not trying to shame the ladies who did it, okay? This is more for like if it's chronic, if it's something that is really kind of a way that you're trying to move in the world so that you can feel happier and better about yourself. Okay, so this is how you can differentiate. Healthy self-care focuses on various aspects of yourself. There's more of a balance, right? It's not just focused on your body and your image. It's not hyper focused on just one thing in your life. There's a balance. It's not about overachievement or over accomplishment. There's more of a balance between your body, your mind, your spirit, and your career. And it doesn't feel anxiety producing. It's not a preoccupation of constantly wanting to make sure that I look a certain way or have a certain image. It's not driven by perfectionism or insecurity. That's one of the ways you can tell. It's flexible. Okay, meaning the desire, the behavior is flexible. It's not rigid. So we know we're about to enter into like disordered behaviors when there's rigidity to it, when there's an inflexibility to it, when there's like I said, a preoccupation, an excessive amount of energy and time goes into it. And then when we're not doing those things, when we're not invested in the vanity type behaviors, it feels really, really uncomfortable. It feels really stressful. It almost becomes a compulsive need. Oh, I gotta get my, even exercise can seem harmless, but even exercise can be overdone. So it's part of kind of a spectrum of disordered behaviors, especially in eating disorder world, where you could literally over-exercise, and people who are not trained may think that that's just really healthy, you're just really into your fitness. But for us in the mental health community, we look at that and we try to assess the healthiness of that, because over exercising can be masked as a form of vanity. And vanity in and of itself isn't just because like, oh, you're just egotistical and you love yourself too much. No, it's usually rooted in feelings of inadequacy and insecurity. And in my experience, having done this for many years, those wounds are planted very, very, very early on in life. Like nobody's really like comes out of the womb and are just so self-obsessed and self-absorbed. That these are learned behaviors, okay? So this is not your fault. This is not about shaming anybody, but it's more about educating and elevating and hopefully giving people, you guys, another way, another option. Hi, everybody. Hi, Ate Cor, Tita Maggie watching. Thank you. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm in the boonies. That's why my background is this way. Some of you might know where I am. So another way to differentiate, vanity versus healthy self-care is the self-talk. meaning the things you're telling yourself, you know? So even a simple statement, and I even have to catch myself when I do this.